guys. Welcome, welcome. As you guys are coming in, we're excited to have you guys today. Today, the topic is everything branding. So I'm super excited to learn. I know we have some amazing panelists for you guys today, so I'm not going to waste any additional time. I'm going to pass this time to Aspen so she can introduce our panelists and get this party started.
Hey guys, I'm excited to share with you today how to take, not just, okay, let's learn about branding, because we've been talking about branding. Everybody knows about branding, but how to take your branding to the next level. So that being said, I'm excited to introduce our panelists this week. And I thought about this morning. I will introduce them as their branded name because it's my guess that you guys already know who they are. And that's the point behind what we're talking about today, is that you know these people by their brand and who they are because of their personality and who they've become. And they've made a name for themselves through their brand. So we have the amazing CBH, and we also have Blue Cottage Mommy on today. And I'm sure you guys are like, oh my God, we totally know who they are without even saying their name. So I have a lot of questions for them, but if you have questions that I don't ask, make sure we drop those in the chat, and I'm sure we have some great people monitoring that today. I'm not sure who it is, but I'm sure they're there, and they will holler at me. Kelly looks like she's over there at the end or during if they have questions or if you have questions that need answered. So let's jump right in. And so I'm going to have them do just a short intro and explain to us real quick from the beginning, okay, when you decided to start your business or to start branding your business, where did you begin? Because it's not always like, okay, I know all about this and here's what I'm doing. It kind of just happens in a way, I think. So first, let's ask Carol, if you want to unmute, how did it all begin? Like, what did you do when you're like, you know what, time to take this branding thing to the next level?
Well, okay, so my name is super hard to say. Hauk. Nobody ever pronounces it right. And so I think part of the whole thing started was because they just started calling me by my initial, CBH. Because when I started Scentsy, I was just Carol Bishop. And then I got married partway in, and I had legit had only changed my driver's license. My social security number was still Bishop. I was literally living two lives, aliases. I'm just kidding. But, so people just started calling me CBH because it was a lot easier. I think Orville was the only one at one point that said my name right, and everyone else slaughtered it. So that's how mine started, really. That's pretty much it. It was just easier to say.
Well, and just out of simplicity. So, and that's something to think about for those of you who are like, oh, I have to brand myself. I have to come up with this big elaborate thing. You really don't. It's got to be part of who you are. And so let's go to Blue Cottage Mommy and see where that all came from.
Hey guys, my name is Danny, by the way. Blue Cottage Mommy was something I actually came up with prior to my Scentsy business. I had another business prior to Scentsy, don't tell on me. And branding was really instilled into me from there. So when I had joined Scentsy, I already kind of knew the importance of it. But my Blue Cottage Mommy branding particularly came after we bought our house. It's an 1800s historic home. We're actually part of our historical society, our local historical society. And I was pregnant with my first kid, and I wanted to blogging, mommy blogs were all the thing. And I'm like, I want to do a blog. And I have yet to write one because being a mom is hard and you don't have time to do things like write blogs. So I went ahead and reserved a blog page thingy, and I just called it Blue Cottage Mommy because I lived in a blue cottage, and I was about to be a mom. So that's how all that came about.
Again, simplicity, right? It's it's not that you have to come up with something big. It has to be part of who you are and then easily rememberable. So let's jump back over to Carol. And Carol, let's talk about your customers and how, obviously they probably don't know you as CBH, right? That's more of a Scentsy thing, but they know you, they know who you are, but how do they remember you and keep coming back? What do you do? Tell me a few things that you do in your branding that keeps them coming back or keeps them, when they think of Scentsy, they think of you. How does that happen?
Well, one of the things is everything has my picture and my information, and I have a website that's carolbh.com. So everyone mostly knows me as Carol, but Carol the Scentsy Lady. I mean, that's like my thing, because I used to be Carol the Nail Lady, and now I'm the Scentsy Lady because I used to do hair and nails. So like I don't know if you can see, all of my bars have my picture, they have my website, everything's clearly labeled. When I send out mailers every single month to my customers, in fact, I just did, if you watch the Scentsy Expo, I have, my talk is customer care and follow-up, and I tell you exactly what I do every month to make my customers not forget me. But it's more like you can't let them forget you. You have to stay in their face, whether that's texting, emailing, sending a mailer every month, messaging on Facebook, posting on your Facebook. I try to friend most of my customers as well, so they are on my Facebook page or my Instagram, so they see me posting constantly things. And so, but I just make sure everything has my face, because people, they won't throw away things with your face on there. So business cards, everything has my face, and it's just a picture, like legit. This is a selfie we took with Hannah Hall in Rome. We were like sweaty on a bus, and I legit just took this one because I was like, oh, I look pretty good. My cheeks are a little flushed, a little color, and cropped Hannah and her husband out of the back. And that's the picture I used because I was like, oh, that's a pretty decent selfie. So that's it. Pretty much, I just make sure that everything, if people don't forget faces, people will forget your name, but people don't forget faces. And at least I know I don't forget faces. I forget names. I can't remember them to save my life, but I will never forget what you look like. I can tell you what you were wearing. I can tell you other things that we talked about, but your name will slip me every single time. It's awful.
Absolutely. No, I think that's great, because even as consultants, if you think about it, if you think about the other consultants or the other leaders that you can think of their branding, because there's certain people that do this really well because their face, because it's on everything. When they're showing a bar, their face is on it, not just on the screen, but on their face. And so it's something, Danny, I want to ask you, when I first started doing this whole put my face on everything thing, and I know you do it well too, and I want to talk about your logo next, but first if you're putting your face on something, your family on something, I had to get over this thing like, oh, it has to be this perfect professional photo. Like Carol said, like it's just a selfie. And so that's what mine ended up being also, as a selfie. But how do you get from like, oh my God, I don't really want my face all over everything, to this is our connection?
Well, so my business before that I mentioned was a makeup business. So like my face was literally like my advertisement with that. So I kind of got off over that fairly quickly with that, and then coming into Scentsy. But I mean, it's just one of those things that you got to get over it. You gotta, like the whole, I don't want to go live because my house is a mess, my kids are crazy. Well, so what? That's what people are related to. If you look like, I mean, I think about it, all these like lawyers and things that have like professional billboards on the side of the road, they look ridiculous, and those are professional photos. So I mean, if I can get a really cute selfie going, then who cares? So plus I can control what a selfie looks like. I can't control like a headshot that someone took of me, because it ends up being completely different. I get back a photo someone took of me, and I'm like, oh God, do I really look like that? I don't know.
Right. Or either that, or somebody sees it and then you deliver wax and they're like, whoa, like who is that person? Like you have to look the same as what you're branding, right? So tell us about, I know you have a logo, so tell us about that and how that came about.
I did my logo prior to Scentsy. I just went on Etsy, and it was a lady, I don't even know if she does it anymore, but I sent her a photo of my house and a photo of me and my kids, and I already kind of had it envisioned in my head of how I wanted it to look. I just translated that to her, and she put it on paper for me. So I think it's like when you're talking to a vendor about doing team shirts, you basically just describe what you want, and they try to take that and translate it onto what you're asking.
Absolutely. So what kind of, for someone who wants to come up with that type of branding, what would you suggest to them? Like, okay, how do I look at my life and say, okay, this is me? If someone really has no idea, like, how do you figure that out?
I mean, first and foremost, I would say before you go and start investing in things like a logo and stuff, like just get comfortable with your face. I mean, let your face be your logo. You don't have to pay for something professional to like be put together. Like again, my logo is like a little cartoon of like my house with a cartoon me and a cartoon of my kids. But I rarely use it anymore. It's on my business cards, but for the most part, everything has my face on it. I don't want them seeing a logo. I want them seeing me.
Right. And so I think that's great advice, and advice that we should all follow as well as pass on to our teams. Is like, just like the selfie, we don't got to go dropping a lot of money or investing money that we don't have or pulling from our business on big elaborate things. I mean, you can do something cute with, there's so many programs out there. So Carol, let's talk more about your mailers that you mentioned earlier. And as part of your branding, what else goes into that?
My mailers, it's basically Scentsy stuff. So I keep it super simple because I feel like if you're not going to consistently do it, you're not gonna, and so the simpler you keep it, the better. So it is a monthly brochure with a scratch and sniff sticker, or I do the felt samples from Scentsy. What I really promoted this month was the Always Get Your Bar, the Scentsy Club, and I actually printed out a full flyer. This is just the page from the catalog. I legit just took it, copied it, and printed it out and put my information on there. And then I did the discontinued list on the back to let them know this is all going away. So this went in my mailer along with a showcase brochure or a product sheet, depended on how recent they were. Like the most recent, the better the order, the more nice stuff they get. So they get a product, a showcase brochure, and then this flyer and the felt sample, and that all goes in there. When it was Bring Back My Bar, I just printed a Bring Back My Bar sheet with my photo, with the QR code, made sure they knew what was Bring Back My Bar last month. And then I put one up here on my computer desk so then I can remember what bars do I need to get, stuff. So, but really I keep it super simple, but by doing it's the smell that sells. So everything has to smell, whether it's a sticker or a felt sample, or because you can't mail wax right now. When it's winter time, I can actually just mail a chunk of wax because it won't melt. But
right.
It's just something every single month. I send to all my customers that have ordered. I mail out 100 of these every month. So I have 100 customers, and it's by order date. So whoever has ordered from me in the last little bit. And then I send out about 72, let's see, is that how many stickers are in? Yeah, 72. Yeah. So 72 is one package of the scratch and sniff stickers. And I send those on a postcard to the next 72. So I mail out about 172 things every month. But by doing this, for the last year, over the last year, very consistently, I upped my sales $20,000 last year. So
it's a big deal, and it's consistency. And so tell me, when they open their mailbox and they see that, how do they know it's from you, Carol?
Oh, I'll show you. Hold on.
Perfect.
Yeah, hold on. I was like, hold on, please. I can't open. So this is my postcard, and again, it has my picture on it, and says Happy Mail, and I just put the sticker right there. It has my website, and the back is blank. It just says check out the monthly specials on my website, because I used to print every single month on here, and it just got to be too much, and I said I'm done. But everything has my picture on it, so they know the minute they get it. I use bright purple envelopes. This is what my last mailer was just bright purple envelope. So all of this went inside the envelope. So I send colored mailers, bright colors, something that sticks out in the mail. I don't like to send white envelopes and if I do, then they get a Happy Mail sticker. They get something on there that lets them know this is something they really want to open, right? I want to make it exciting. I don't
I
do
love that.
confetti because not many people, a lot of people hate confetti. So I only torture my downline with confetti. So
Perfect. No, I love that. And I mean, part of branding is consistency, because if you're going to show your face once every 6 months, that's not branding. Branding is putting out there over and over and over again. And so I kind of want to shift gears and go back over to Danny, and I want to start talking a little bit about social media and how branding works with social media with your customers. And this is something that we talked about prior, and Danny was schooling me when it comes to the TikTok and how cool it is and how that works. But tell us not just about TikTok, but about your Facebook and stuff. Give us some insight to where to begin if you're not branding already, and where to go.
So I knew coming into Scentsy that I was going to do the vast majority of my business on social media. It was something I was already comfortable with, but I had a 2-year-old at home. I was in my last trimester with my daughter. So I knew I was about to have a newborn. And so I just knew it was going to be unrealistic for me to do things like home parties and stuff. So actually the night I came home from the hospital, I had a Facebook party. So I had her strapped to me while doing a Facebook party on my computer. But anyway, you know, one of the downfalls of doing your business on social media is you've got to bridge the gap between how your customers are connected with you. So like if you were to do a home party or like in-person events, things like that, they get to give you a hug, shake your hand, you get to welcome them, they get to kind of read your in-person vibes, all the things. With social media, you've got to kind of artificially create those moments. So things like stories, videos, you know, lives, all that stuff really helps bridge that gap, because they can hear you, they can see what's going on behind you. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Perfect's not relatable at all. No one's going to look at a Kardashian sister and feel connected to them. That's just not happening. So if you have like Mount Everest on your dining room table of laundry, I can get real with that. But you've got to pick a platform. There's Pinterest and Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, and there's all the things, but if you try to do them all at once, it's like putting your hand in too many cookie jars. Figure out one, and then if you want to slowly integrate another, then that's great. The great thing about Instagram is because it's owned by Facebook, a lot of it just automatically shares to Facebook. So if you're making a post on Instagram or a story on Instagram, you can automatically just share it to your Facebook with a click of a button. So that kind of covers both bases there. But I've started integrating TikTok just because all the cool kids were doing it during quarantine. So I figured, what the hey? And so it's been fun. But would I say to a newbie, hey, go download TikTok and use it for your business? No.
Yeah, no, and I think that's great. And just it's about focus and being you wherever you are, and creating something that people feel like they're stepping into your life. Because I think as a majority of people are humans, we're nosy and we want to know like what's real, because when we see something real, we're attracted to that, right? And so
Can I ask Danny a question? Do you pre-plan your posts? Do you like map out an entire month of what you're going to do, or do you do everything on the fly? Because I think that's
I am way more organized than I am. No way. I wake up and I'm literally like, what do I post today? I don't know. Usually my kids give me some good content because they're picking their nose. They say something off the wall. Like the other day, they were having a conversation in the living room going, boy, girl. And I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, your next baby. We're trying to decide if it's a boy or girl. I'm like, mommy is not having another baby. I don't know what that conversation's for. So, but everybody loved it. I had like over 100 likes on that, tons of comments, people, and interaction. So you just go with it, and people are relating to that because kids say the darndest things.
Yeah, well, and just if we think about it, if we're letting people into our lives, we can't have our pages look like a store, right? Because we don't relate to the people that work at Target. We don't, because we don't know them. We go there because they have cute stuff. But
if your profile looks like an infomercial, you are doing it wrong.
Absolutely. And we want to see messy lives. We want to see, because the value is in you. And so, Carol, share with someone
right here.
Share with somebody that maybe is a little bit on the fence about, okay, I want to do this whole branding thing, but I don't know about showing people pictures of me sweaty at the gym, or, because sometimes you think twice about letting people in. So what do you do to be okay with that?
Imagine, okay, so for example, there is a really awesome influencer. I don't even know her real name, but I know she lives in Canada, and her branding is the Birds Papaya. Does anyone follow her? She's phenomenal. She's gorgeous. And she is all about like body positivity, and she'll show up in like a bikini with like cellulite and extra skin and like all the things. And like, to me, I'm sitting there going, wow, how cool is that? And it makes you feel more comfortable in your own skin, because you can see someone that maybe looks like you, or you relate to that, or whatever. And it just makes you feel good about you. And if you can be that person for somebody else, like if someone else can see your mountain of laundry on the table and go, man, she's struggling to do this too. Not everyone's life looks like a highlight reel. It makes them feel better about themselves. And they can make those connections, and the biggest thing is they can put themselves in your shoes and say, look, her kids are crazy, her house is a mess and all the things, but she's still running a super successful business and traveling the world. My life looks a lot like that, minus the traveling the world and running a successful business. Maybe I could do that too.
I mean, it's a sponsoring tool as well, not just a sales tool or whatever. So share with us, Carol, what you think is, how did you begin when you're like, okay, this is me?
Oh, I still struggle to this day with this is me, like showing, I don't know, the hot mess of a life. But I will say, just start doing it. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. I did not want to show people at the gym that I could only lift like 100 pounds after my surgery, because I felt weak. I felt like that was terrible. Yet other people are like, I couldn't even imagine lifting 100 pounds. So I have to remember that not everyone is the overachiever like me and eventually wants to lift 400 pounds, right? Without a whim. And so I have always wanted to be the best, to be good at things. And so then what happens is that perfectionist mindset like stops you from doing anything. And so if you just get started, and so I literally show everybody my gym session, one for my own self, for accountability, to show people that I am working, even though the scale isn't moving. It ticks me off, but so you have to be more than Scentsy. And that's what I started to realize. Originally, I legit started social media only for my Scentsy business. That was it. To connect with team members and to do stuff. And then I realized I have to be more than Scentsy. So now I show the gym. I don't show my kids as often, only because I feel too many pedophiles out there. So I have an issue. Plus we have other things, like, because we've adopted both of our children, birth parents are out there. So I don't really want them to see a lot of my kids. So, but I do show my family occasionally. When we were talking earlier about use your selfies, because when you're talking about a tiny little picture like this, it doesn't matter if it's professionally done. But if you're going to blow something up and have like a bigger photo, then maybe you want a professional, family photo done. And guess what? They're a tax deduction. You can get a family photo done every single year, and they're a tax deduction because they are advertising for your business. So get those family photos done, write them off, use this as an opportunity to have nice things, because this business can afford these things. I still struggle every day, but I'm getting better at showing it. In fact, my friend, she took a picture of me from behind at the gym the other day, and she's like, look at those cute pumpkin butts that you have. And I go, yeah, 2 pumpkins, should be 1, but it's 2, but I was looking at this photo, and I was telling my husband, all I saw was, when did my calves get cellulite? Like, when did my calves get all kind of chunky? And so now, but she's like, no, you look so cute. And people would die for a round butt like what you're getting. And I was like, okay, but so people see things differently. You see things one way, and we're always so critical of ourselves, but other people see inspiration, and they see, like, I want to be like Danny, right? I want to be like Danny, but and Danny's like, I want to be like somebody else. So it's going to be this repetitious cycle. And so you just have to think you're going to connect with different people, but by showing your different hobbies. Maybe you're really good at making cakes. Show people what your skills are, because that's going to attract different people to you and make you more interesting. If you're only posting Scentsy, if you're only posting, oh, I hate my life, this is terrible, people are not going to follow you. They're not going to want anything to do with you.
Right. Well, and it makes you think like, okay, so what is my brand? Take a scroll through your Facebook page or through your social media. Look over the last 6 months or a year. What is your brand? Because it might not be what you think it is. And so it might be time to,
I do a funny post every day, and people actually look to me for the funniest, like, what's Carol going to post today? And I legit have people send me things because they're like, oh, I could never put this on my wall, but this is perfect for yours, And so I have people that everybody's like, where'd you find these? And I was like, dude, this one was sent to me. So I did not find it myself, but I post something funny every day because I found on my Facebook, on my Instagram, I got more likes and more engagement with the funny stuff. And I am funny. I'm freaking funny. I mean, I am. And so I know this about myself. And so I thought, well, this should definitely be part of my brand. So I'm a funny, powerlifting, Scentsy boss, and that's my brand. And I think, and I'm fat, whatever, I'm chunky. I post things like that, so that's my brand.
Well, Carol, we love your pumpkins, so don't even worry about it.
The other thing too is that this day and age right now, this time that we're in right now, is probably the most inclusive it's ever been. So like body positivity, mental health, being a woman, being someone of color, being someone of a different origin or whatever. I mean, it's never been as accepted as it is right now, and it's not perfect by any means, but there's so much more acceptance versus, oh well, you have to be a size 0, or you have to, people who go to therapy are weird, or that's not a thing anymore. It's so inclusive, so don't feel scared to share who you are or what you go through. Like for example, if any of you guys follow director Brittany Lucas, she is very, very open about like her mental health journey and stuff like that, and she connects with so many people on that level, because it's a stigma. People don't talk about it as often as they should, and when people do talk about it, they automatically gravitate towards them because it's someone they can relate with.
Right. Well, and when people can say me too, then they want to follow you.
Exactly.
They're not going to follow you if you're living this perfect picture social media life. Being vulnerable connects you to people. When you can step up and say, look, I'm a hot mess and I hope you are too. So unless, I guess, Carol, do you have anything else that you can think of that you want to add that maybe is part of your story that you could share? I mean, one other little pointer that's for somebody that's not branding at all, like what, and they're looking at all this like, whoa, this is a lot for me.
Yeah, I feel like start small. Post either, I think being consistent. Focus on posting one thing a day. That's what I started on. Now I worked in the stories. I've been posting a lot more stories, but I made sure I never let my stories lapse. And I think that's one of the big things, one of the big tips I've learned is don't let your story lapse. Always post something so that the little red circle shows up, right? And so people want to check out and see what else you posted. Find one post a day and just be consistent. So I make sure every morning, or some days it's afternoon because my life is a hot mess, right? And I don't actually get it done. But I post something funny every day. So people are like, oh, I need to go check out and see what Carol posted today. So whatever you do, be consistent. If you can only do one post a day, do it. Be you. Find things that, you want to share that are your personality. I try not to use the F word on my Facebook page, but I'll use all the other words. But some people, I have seen other people, they post the F word, and so I don't know. I just can't be that racy. I'll say it, but I just won't post about it, but
it's worse in writing for sure.
I am the big shit mess. Like shit is my favorite word. So I feel like that one is, people know that word's coming, whether they like it or not, that word's coming from me. And so, but think about, I like to be a little edgy, but you know, funny. And so, but that was where I started. I made one single post every single day. I made sure it was there and people could start to look for it. And then I never let my stories lapse. And I found the more I go live, the more people they like that versus posting a picture of like, you know, the flyer, like the 40% off MLB flyer, you know, like for right now, you know, I mean, if I had an MLB warmer I could hold, right? I think Danny kind of has said that's really the best way to do it. But do something every single day in your business or on social media to brand yourself and then just be you. That's what it's all
about. I think, I mean, we're out of time, but you guys were great. I mean, you guys can see why we picked our panelists today because they're awesome and they are who they are. So if I could say one thing to the tune of taking your branding to the next level is start out being a little bit vulnerable and be you and be authentic. And we know as Scentsy, being authentic is part of who we are as a company. So do you and people will love it. So unless there's any questions, we will let you guys go for the day. Callie, we good? Any questions?
There was, but Carol answered it. So yeah, we're good.
Of course she did. Thanks, Carol. And thanks, Danny, for jumping on here. We appreciate you guys. And thank you everyone for getting on. Keep sharing. We're going to keep having great panel members and we're just going to keep this rolling as long as you guys will join us. So have a great week and happy reunion, you guys. I'm loving all the posts and all the excitement from you reunion. So we will see everyone next Monday.
All right, guys. Bye. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.